Am I wrong if I say no to allowing my husband's daughter to come live with us full-time? I have been married to my husband for 6 years. We have 2 kids together, 8M and 4M. Our youngest is special needs. My husband also has a daughter, 12, from his previous relationship. My husband's ex has had primary custody. My husband gets SD on weekends and alternating holidays/birthdays. This past weekend, my SD asked my husband if she can come live with him full-time. Her mom recently moved in with her fiancé and his kids, and there has been some friction with that from what I understand. Nothing nefarious, just new house, new rules, having to share a bedroom, etc. My husband didn't give her an answer either way. He said he would look into it. When he and I were discussing it, I had the following objections. SD and our kids do not get along. It is something we have worked on for years, in and out of therapy, and it just ain't happening. SD resents mine for existing, and is cruel towards my youngest for their disabilities. There have been issues with her bullying. My oldest is very protective of his little brother and hates SD for being mean to his brother. He has started physical altercations with her over it. The truth is that most of the time we have SD, I make arrangements to take the boys to visit their grandparents, or my husband takes her out of the house for daddy-daughter time to avoid conflict. I cannot imagine how living together full-time would be for them. We really don't have room. We have a 4-bedroom home. Both my husband and I work from home, so we can be a caretaker for my youngest. Due to the nature of his disabilities, it is really not feasible for him and my oldest to share a room. It wouldn't be safe or fair for my oldest. My SD's room is used as my work-from-home office space during the week. I arrange my vacation time and whatnot around her visitation so I can stay out of her space while she is here. I have to take very sensitive phone calls, and I need a closed door when I work, so common areas are out, and my husband uses our bedroom as his home office, so that's out too. We don't currently have room in the budget to make an addition to the house or remodel non-livable spaces at the moment. My husband hears my objections and understands them, but he wants to go for it and figures that everything will eventually work out. He doesn't want his daughter to think he is abandoning her. And I feel for the girl. It would be awful for your dad to say no when you ask if you can live with him. But I have my own kids to think about too, and I just do not believe that her living here is in their best interest at all, considering their history and our current living arrangements. Does saying no to this put me in evil stepmom territory? Edit, for the people who want to make me into an horrible homewrecker to go along with being an evil stepmom. Sorry to disappoint, but we did not have an affair. My husband and my stepdaughter's mom were never married. They were never in a relationship. They were friends with benefits. They bartended together, would shoot the bull, and would sometimes get drunk and have fun. My husband claims he needed beer goggles cause she really isn't his type. When my SD's mom found out she was pregnant, she told my husband she was keeping it and asked if he wanted to be in the baby's life. They never lived together, except for a few weeks during the newborn stage, to help out. Yes. I had my first before I married my husband. My husband and I were in a long-term relationship when I had a birth control malfunction. My husband and I discussed what we wanted to do, and we both decided we wanted to raise the child. A few days later my husband proposed. I wanted to take time to recover from birth and wait until our kiddo was old enough to pawn him off on the grandparents for the week so my husband and I could enjoy our wedding. We didn't get married until my oldest was 2. Edit 2, regarding my youngest son's disabilities, SD's bullying, and my oldest starting fights, since there is a lot of projection and speculation. My youngest son has both physical and mental disabilities. He uses multiple kinds of medical and therapy equipment. My SD has shoved him out of his wheelchair. She has pinched him hard enough to leave bruises. She has hit his face when he was having trouble verbalizing. AITAH if this is normal sibling behavior. It is alarming enough to me that I feel it is best for my youngest to spend as little time as possible with her until this behavior completely stops, and I will say it has lessened quite a bit. We went through a period of it happening frequently, and it has slowed. The last incident was 2 months ago, when SD grabbed my son's wheelchair and aggressively pushed him out of her way because he was blocking the hallway. One of the times that my son had started an altercation with her was because she had told my son that his brother was not a real person and that she was going to call the hospital to have him taken away so they could perform experiments to find out what it was. She went into detail about things they would do to him, like ripping his fingernails out. And yes, my son did lose his temper and hit her. My son was immediately disciplined, loss of tablet time, and we had an age-appropriate discussion about how his heart is in the right place to want to protect his little brother, but he needs to find an adult when something like that happens. This was not made up. Stepdaughter admitted she said it to my husband when he was able to sit her down and talk with her later in the day. I am not allowed to discipline or have parenting talks with SD per Biomom's wishes. I am not welcome to be a part of SD's therapy journey, mostly per Biomom's wishes. She does not want me involved. My husband has always been worried about rocking the boat with Biomom on these things. So I do not know the extent of what therapeutic treatments she has had. I do know she does go to therapy during the week, and my husband has gone to sessions, but it isn't something he is free to discuss with me. So I am in the dark about that. Edit 3, there's someone in the comments who claims to be my sister-in-law. They are either a troll or are mistaken. My husband is an only child. I don't have a sister-in-law. Relevant comments. Redditor ANTA. It seems your stepdaughter is the single common factor in the issues with blended families. She only wants to live full-time with you because she's been spoiled by the efforts you make to keep the peace on weekends. She's delusional. OP, I do believe she has a very different idea of what living here full-time would be than the reality of it, yes. But she's a kid. When she is here 90% of Dad's attention is on her because of the visitation arrangement and interpersonal issues between her and our sons. I honestly don't think she is going to like the daily grind here any more than she likes it at her new house. Redditor B, my concern would be why she wants to leave. Is there more to this story? If she wants to leave because of abuse or neglect, then I think while her moving in may not be a permanent solution, doing nothing would make YTA. That being said, if she wants to leave for something minor like, she wasn't allowed staying up late on a weekend, then, I think the bio parents need to have a sit down and sort it out. OP, she is upset that she has to share a room with her soon-to-be stepsister. Stepsister is moving out in the fall and just needs it for weekends home and holiday breaks. And bio mom and her partner decided that all kids will follow the same set of rules in their household, so she has new limitations about screen time and more household responsibilities. Nothing nefarious like abuse or neglect. OP on having all spaces for all kids, including SD, and should prioritize the children's spaces over her office space. OP, the house had plenty of room for 3 kids when we bought it. Unfortunately, when my son was 8 months old, he had a seizure. And then very quickly after that first seizure 11 more as we raced to the emergency room. After that, all of our lives changed forever. Both my husband and I had to restructure our entire careers to provide the level of care he has needed. If I do not prioritize my desk, then none of the kids are gonna have a home. That's just the reality that we face. Both my husband and I need to work in order to keep our home, keep up with medical expenses, and keep everyone housed, clothed, and fed. We've done our best to make sure that SD still feels like it is her room. It is decorated the way she wants. She has permanent personal items here. Closet full of her own clothes so she doesn't have to pack between homes. We've given her a locking trunk for privacy. But yeah, I need to have office space to keep my job. So the rule is that she clears off the desk before leaving, and I put up a room divider in that corner and make myself a little cubicle when she is not here. I have to have private space with a door for my job. I will be fired if I do not have that. I cannot work in common areas. My company takes client privacy and security very seriously. OP on the relationship between her children and her husband/the father, his relationship with SD's mom. Yes, I had my first with my husband before we were married. He proposed to me after we found out I was pregnant, and I wanted to take some time after the birth of our first before we got married. My husband and my SD's bio mom were never married and never in a relationship. They had a casual sexual relationship. Update 1. So last week, my husband and I sat down together and talked about SD coming to live with us full time and how that would work out. It was a difficult discussion because, as some Redditors had suggested, I really pushed hard for him to really think things through and figure out the obstacles. Where would he and I work? Common areas are out due to the nature of our jobs. I can't due to employer restrictions. He does some NSFW things in his "we don't want the kids to see." How are we going to handle the animosity and bullying between the kids? What consequences would be in place? We talked about what expectations would be for SD living here full-time versus just weekends. About how she probably has unrealistic expectations about what the nitty-gritty life here is like. We talked through every possibility we could come up with, including out there possibilities like selling out home or separating our household and living apart for a while. We ran numbers to see how it may affect our finances. And ultimately we agreed that the answer was not yet, with a goal for our family working towards it. And that the best course of action would be to slowly adjust the amount of time she spends in our home versus a sudden custody switch. So Friday night, my husband took SD out to talk to her about everything. He explained to her that she wouldn't have her own room at our place for a couple years, but that is something that is on the top of the list for home improvements once our youngest's handicap accessibility renovations are paid off. He talked to her about what expectations of living with us would be like. That she would have chores and responsibilities. And most importantly, they talked about the bullying and laid down the provision that we needed to see her relationship and attitude towards her brothers improve before she can live here full-time. SD obviously wasn't thrilled about any of this, but she said okay and that she would do better with her brothers. So Saturday I made arrangements for my parents to watch our sons, and we invited SD's mom over so we could all sit down and figure out how SD can start to spend more time here. And that is when it fell apart. Mom is not okay with the change in custody at all. Absolutely not, was her answer. She took SD home early Saturday. My husband tried to reach out to SD on Sunday to see how she was and ask if she wanted to do their guitar lesson over Skype or something since her mom took her home early, but she never responded. He called SD's mom and she informed him that SD had lost her phone privileges. So we don't really know what is going on with all that. Relevant comments. OP on why her SD lost her phone privileges when SD was with her mother. OP. Turns out she threw her phone at her mom's face, hitting her mom and cracking the screen. Mom isn't giving it back until SD has paid off the deductible. We do have alternative forms of contact with SD at this time. OP on her SD's reasons for wanting to live with her dad and her. And if the bio mom knew about the plans. OP, no, SD's mom didn't come to us. SD asked weekend before last if she could live with us instead because her and her mom recently moved in with her mom's partner. My husband told her that we would need to discuss it and figure out if it was a possibility. We didn't talk to bio mom until after we know what our answer was. As soon as mom found out SD wanted to spend more time with us, she shut it down immediately. I know a lot of people have been speculating that my SD may be being abused in the comments. And I understand the concern, and I know that it can happen to anyone. But I don't have any reason to believe that is happening here. Mom's new partner isn't exactly new. They've been together 5 or 6 years I think now. SD has spent lots of time with her soon-to-be stepdad. Moving in together is the new thing. My SD does have a good relationship with my husband and she has not confided anything to my husband about stepdad making her uncomfortable. I believe that she would, but I won't discount the possibility she wouldn't. From my understanding, the issues in her new home are more to do with having to share her bedroom with her new soon-to-be stepsister and adjusting to a new set of household rules. OP on what her husband does for a living. OP, nothing exciting. He does video editing. He has clients who do porn. They send him the raw footage they film and he makes it into saleable videos for them and teaser trailers and stuff. He also edits YouTube videos, special event videos, and even local commercials. The way we see it, everyone's money spends the same. LOL. One day, he edits the commercial for the local church's annual yard sale, and the next some hot chick getting a Cleveland steamer. We just have to be really careful about when and where he edits the naughtier videos so none of the kids walk in on him. We try to make sure he only does those when I'm not working, so he can stay behind a locked door with headphones on.